10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
SEGA Race Fan, live with SEGA Live. Hello, I'm Lee Kraft, a.k.a. the Monday Morning Racer, and over there, Mr. Bland, host of the Not Bland Show and my co-host on the Competition Plus Power Hour. No, this is not just simply a continuation of the Competition Plus Power Hour. David Lancaster, the voice of SEGA, the man announcing all of the great action at a Southeast Gas Association race. He's not able to be with us right away. We do expect him to pop into the show later. Be more than glad to have him along. Oh, by the way, I talked to Mitch Stott there at Shadyside Dragway and look forward to having him on before long and chatting up all things Southeast Gassers Association. If one thing Mitch Stott can do, well, two things really. He can drive a race car and he can run his mouth. Can't wait to get Mitch here on the show eventually. Dugenais, you were manning a camera this weekend and did a fine job of that, especially learning the ropes and getting accustomed to something that is very challenging. But you were able to experience Shadyside Dragway for the first time ever. And look, you've been to South Georgia Motorsports Park well before the Southeast Gassers Association was ever there. You've been to the Gator Nationals, covering the Gator Nationals in a media capacity with the NHRA in town and beyond. What did you think of Shadyside Dragway?
Shadyside fits Southeast Gassers Association. It kind of screams it when you come in the gate, just how you pull up. They are all who work there are super friendly and welcoming. The way the cars are parked within the pits, you know, just it's super cozy. You can tell the history that's there. And when the cars hit the track, it just, you know, you talking about being set back in the 60s, that it definitely feels like it. And then on Saturday during Eliminations with the people lined up, you know, it's like they're going to a concert. We've got tents everywhere. We've got people on golf carts parked on the hill. The new stands were packed. People standing up, you know, having a good time, kids, families. It was really a really good day at Shadyside, and I really love the feel there in the vibe.
Absolutely. It certainly fits the Southeast Gassers Association well. And through the show, we will be showing photos from time to time. Those photos captured by, most of them, Adam Dobbs. He was acting as Southeast Gassers Association official photographer for the weekend. He did a great job. This is from early on Saturday. You get that old school feel at Shadyside, but the Buff Boys are certainly doing a great job of bringing Shadyside Dragway into the modern day of drag racing in its own way. You can see there, they really get into the theme of the Southeast Gassers Association drag racing and wear kind of some of the old attire and look like officials from back in the day. You can see off in the distance just a row of canopies, full grandstands, people parked on the hill. It was a great show this past weekend for SEGA being in town, and it usually is. It's hard to get in, though they have worked on that. They have made that better each and every race. You know, camping spots, they're sold out, and, you know, people finding that place to catch the action at Shadyside is premium, and people were doing that. People were lined in front of the grandstands. People were obviously in the grandstands. Both sides were full. It was a well-attended race. It was a great race from the action and also with the fan participation that was there. I think this is one of my favorite photos concerning seeing some of the fans. You got some of the media there, the cars that are so great of Southeast Gassers Association drag racing, doing what they do best, wheels up, gear jamming action. And it was, again, a great show at Shadyside Dragway. So to the team at Shadyside Dragway, congratulations. What a great show. And to the racers, what a great show. And thank you to Robbin's Repairables, once again, stepping up and supporting the Southeast Gassers Association. We talked about it on the last SEGA Live. If you are looking for a car that has been repaired and is a quality machine, but you're going to get it at a discount price because of its title status, Robbin's Repairables is the place to go look. And beyond that, for parts and pieces for whatever you might be building, especially even for the modern ride of the day and time that we're in. Robbin's Repairables, check them out online, and they've got the part and pieces you need for wherever you're at. So check them out. Very thankful for their support. Well, we're going to shift gears, and in shifting gears, we have to talk about G-Force Transmissions, the official 4-speed of the Southeast Gassers Association. We're going to switch gears, take a break. That break, this word from Summit Racing Equipment, and then our first guest, which will be Mr. Tim Hall. And then after Tim, we're going to get on Daniel Haynes and chat with him. By the way, this show will not always directly be talking to every winner. I want you all to know that. Just because you win doesn't mean we're talking to you. I mean, we will eventually. But there's always interesting stories happening at the racetrack beyond the winners. We are going to talk to a winner, though, right now after this word from Summit Racing Equipment with the Scalded Dog, Tim Hall. Summit Racing Equipment. From the store, the catalog, or online, you can get your street rod, hot rod, personal ride, and even race car, including a Southeast Gassers Association ride, ready for action. Build with Summit Racing Equipment. And there he is, the Scalded Dog himself out of Abbeville, South Carolina, Tim Hall. Welcome to SEGA Live, Tim.
Thank you for having me.
Man, it is good to have you, and what a great weekend it was for you at Shadyside Dragway. First of all, let's bring everyone up to speed. You, a back-to-back champion, a former champion, just one season removed from a championship for you the last time that you won that. Well, you were not at South Georgia Motorsports Park, so this year is going to be different for Tim Hall and SEGA Racing.
Yeah, we intend to run the it's taking too much time, and I just needed to step back. Plus, it had gotten almost like a job instead of do it for enjoyment, for fun, to be around people and see folks. But you chase that championship for years and years like that, it turns into almost like a job, and you lose some of the enjoyment. So I thought if I stepped back a little bit and just went to the closer ones and got some stuff done at my house and different places at church and things that I would maybe enjoy it more. So that's what we're trying to do. Hopefully I'll get some stuff done, and maybe next year I'll have that desire to really go after it again and maybe get a different car built or something. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes. But, there's no secret I'd like to have a car, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. We'll just have to see.
Well, you got another trophy to add to all those trophies back there. You had a great qualifying session. I asked many people about the racetrack and the different. Well, you didn't experience the SGMP racetrack, but it seemed to be working pretty well for you and several others that were in the top four of the qualifying ladder.
Yeah, the track at Shadyside is always really good. Anything we struggle up there, it's too sticky. I mean, that don't make sense to a lot of people, but you need some wheel speed. The tire needs to slip a little bit, and it's a bad thing. You end up wrinkling the tire really bad and running over itself and shaking, and that's not good. You usually lose when it happens. But Shadyside's always really good.
Tim, do me a favor. Come a little closer to your mic so we can pick you up a little better.
Do that.
Right.
Better?
There we go. That'd be better. I think we're going to hear you a lot better, and we'll continue with the show, and everybody will be able to hear you. That's why you're here. We want to hear from you. And as you said, take a little bit time back, kind of got like a job and wanted to get plugged back in a way that brought the love of SEGA racing back to you. Track sticky there at Shadyside and almost too sticky. They can certainly prep the track there very well. Look, getting back in the car for the first time, what was that like? What was it like in testing and then getting into race day? Did you feel like, oh, I'm trying to relearn this, get back up to speed, anything of that nature? Or did you get right into the car and it just felt as if nothing had, left from the time that you were in the car?
It really, I guess it's like riding a bike or something. It didn't feel like I had to relearn. It just second after I get you can't read the tack or anything in these cars. Everything happens so fast. Just the sound of the engine and kind of the feel of it. You know when to shift. You know what to launch at, and that all seemed to just still be there. I made a lot of runs in that old car. Going on 7 years now, I've been running that same car, and so I guess it's just ingrained in me. I didn't have to relearn it or anything like that.
When you hit the track this past weekend, was that the first time you hit the track with the race car?
Yes, it was the first time since Shadyside in the fall. It'd been sitting in the trailer all winter, and I think she was a little mad at me because it gave us a lot of trouble. We worked on something on and off all day long because we didn't put it in the shop during the winter and do our normal maintenance where you go over everything and check everything. And decided at the last minute, I think it was Wednesday before the race, we got it out of the November and checked it over and, made a couple of adjustments and just loaded it in the trailer and took it to Shadyside. So,
Tim, at South Georgia Motorsports Park, Jaron Purdue lowered the record for CGAS, put it into the fives, 595 with a 0. That mark compared to the rest of the class, and as long as you have been in CGAS, as long as you have been a champion in the class, how good of a number is that really? I know we say record, but put that into perspective for us. Because when we go to Shadyside, we see that Jaron qualifies number 1, you qualify number 2, but it's nowhere near a 595 just because of conditions. So how good is that number that Jaron put up on the board for the record?
it was a good number. It's a real good number. The air was much better down there, I hear. I've been best I've ever been is 599. I think Todd's been 597, something like that. So it's not, it's a really good number, but it's not unattainable by Todd or me or maybe a couple other people if you get the right air, right weather on a good track. I was really expecting him to lower it more than that, honestly, before he went down there.
Interesting. More room. Okay.
Yeah, I thought, I think it was a good bit better than this last year. I figured I really thought he might run a 92 or 93. Really, I'm glad he didn't, but I thought he might. I wouldn't have been surprised.
Now, you said you were doing a lot of work on that car all day long. The numbers were incredible for you. What were some of the issues that you guys were having round by round? And great job to you guys to be able to keep that car running low numbers and consistent.
Well, it wasn't really having problems. It was just I didn't think I wanted it to be faster than it was, and we kept trying. You know, I moved the clutch around some. I changed jets in the carburetor. I moved the timing, played with the shocks. I just made a lot of adjustments. Like I said, it wasn't really breaking down. Even though after watching the Spool Media video last night, I saw it. The bracket must have been partially broke most of the day because I saw smoke coming off the left rear tire, even in the early round. So maybe that was what was slowing it down. The rim was moving around, the tire was rubbing the quarter panel and all that on all the runs. And maybe I was trying to speed it up when I had other issues I didn't even know about. So,
right. You remarked that, well, one, in the top end interview, you have a fuel pump issue. You also then clearly see the evidence that the car is broke significantly while you come up to winner's lane and have that interview with David Lancaster, the SEGA announcer. So you had a lot going on, and even though there was a lot going on, you're still able to persevere and drive and win. And the car was rather consistent over the day. I mean, you ranged from a 613 to a 622, and you stayed within that range the whole day. So the car was running well. The driver was driving well. I gotta say, I love the first round matchup. We have the Scalded Dog against Deputy Dog, Tim Hall and BB Brown. You got to appreciate that. Nothing but a bunch of dogs in that round matchup.
Dog on dog crime, they say, right?
Yes. Dog on dog crime. Well, you certainly went out and were able to pick up the win, and I'm sure it's an emotional win for you. It was also an emotional day for Ernie Smith. What a fascinating final. Ernie, in a final round for the first time in 10 years. Here you are. It's your first race of the year. You're not going to be with us all season long, and you show up and, well, spoil the party for some that are vying for this championship this year.
Well, I watched your show last week, and I saw y'all talking about me and everything, and I wanted to, make y'all sound good. You sound like you knew what you was talking about. You said I could be a spoiler, so I figured I need to come out there and, try to make it come true. So y'all look good. So I did my best.
Hey, I appreciate it.
And then Ernie is a good friend of mine. If he'd have passed me at the end, I wouldn't have been happy about it, but it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. And, like I say, we all good friends. We all hang around with each other, and like they say, from the burnout to the turnout, it's a war then. But in that final, he was gaining on me at the top end. When my fuel pump had shut off and it was starting to lean out, he started catching me. And I really did not know if he caught me or not. I really kind of thought he might have because he went by me on the top end, but it turned out it was 17 10,000ths of a second I got there first. So Daddy said the Lord was looking out for me. He didn't let me run out the back door full speed with that rear end broke like that, but he still let the thing pull hard enough to get the win. So thank him for that.
That's incredible. That's incredible. To have a rear end problem, the car's leaning out, and Ernie just ran out of time.
Yep. If it had 10 more feet, he got me. I promise you. He passed me right at the lights, and I really did not know if he beat me or not until when I got up top, it was cut off, and I couldn't even get back down to the ticket booth. I had to get out of the car and raise the hood and beat on the fuel pump, and finally the fuel pump started back up, and then I was able to crank up and drive down, and then they told me I won. I didn't even know for, I don't know, a couple of minutes, however long it took me. Lee could probably tell you, but he waited on me for a little bit before I got there.
Yes, we were waiting on you, and it's like, well, what's going on? What's happened up there at the top end? Did Ernie with the Dale Earnhardt paint scheme put a bumper to Tim in anger or what? I don't know, and turned him around in the shutdown? No, I seriously doubt Ernie would do that. But nonetheless, with that Earnhardt paint scheme, you never know. You never know. But yeah, we had to wait on you a little bit. You get down there, and I almost felt bad for you cutting the car off and having fuel pump issues. I was like, oh no, he's going to be stuck up here. Watch. But was able to get it fired up and get on down the hill and get into victory lane and enjoy everything that the winner can enjoy as the winner. What do you have ahead of you? I'm sure you all have already looked at the car and what needs to happen to the car to get it race ready. So what is that? And then what is the next race that we can expect the Scalded Dog to do some scalding on the competition?
We're gonna, it needs. I'm gonna have to redo the rear cross member and the ladder bar brackets. At least I haven't got all the way into it yet, but I think that's all. And Mama wants to go to Alabama. It's her birthday weekend, so I guess I need to do that for Mama if I can possibly get it fixed. So if nothing goes wrong and we're able to get it fixed in time, we're gonna try to be at Alabama. So
that should be a good one, and we hope the work is minimal. You can get it done in a time where it's comfortable, because a lot of people on the around the pits here had a time getting to Shadyside and had a lot of work to do. So hopefully that is not you leading into Holiday Raceway.
yeah, I don't think it's going to be too bad. You know, a couple of days once we get it. I hadn't got it. I got a buddy that has actually the man that painted the car for me, Barry Whitworth, has a body shop and he's got a frame machine. So he's told me I could.
And Tim is getting a phone call right now.
Yep. Yep, that's exactly what it is.
I have learned who is calling Tim right now? He's live. Don't call him, folks.
He's busy right now.
Yes, that's right. He is on air. We'll see if we get him back. But what a run for Tim Hall to show up. First race of the year for him. Yeah. Qualify second. And then go on and beat his fellow competition all the way to the final and turn on a win light with a car that potentially was broke all day to some degree.
Yeah. I mean, 6:16 with a 3 in the first round, and then he had that competition by, and a 6:13.4 right there in the third round, and a 6:15, and probably would have run somewhere in that 6:15, 6:13 range where he had been all day if the fuel pump didn't decide to quit down at the bottom, at the top end. So it's quite an incredible day and a dramatic finish for a car that was just, knocking folks out. He was throwing haymakers all day long, and pretty incredible to come out on the top end and be a winner despite all those the little issue with the fuel pump, and we know fuel is not a little issue.
Absolutely. It was certainly an effort that puts the entire class on notice that when I decide to show up, I am a threat, and I don't have to have a couple of races under my belt to be a threat. I am that instantly. Well, we've got Tim's back.
Yes.
Tim, man, congratulations. Hey, was it a phone call?
Yeah, somebody called.
Yeah, say a phone call every time. You're such a celebrity. People are already calling you. They want you on other shows, and you got sponsorships lined up for Alabama. See?
That'd be great if that was the case.
Tim, man, congratulations, and thank you for your time here on Sega Live, and we look forward to seeing you at the Bama Brawl.
I'm going to try my best to be there, and we'll definitely look forward to seeing y'all.
Take care, man.
Have me on.
Well, we'll now bring in David Lancaster, the voice of Sega. David, man, good to have you. Glad that you're able to get in. Better late than never, as they say.
Hey, I caught up with you guys, and I saw the hats, so I had to go grab mine. Robbie Myrick keeping us all in the G-Force transmission hats, so couldn't even
They're
take
nice
time
hats
to take.
too.
They are
Yeah,
very nice.
I couldn't even get my tie off after work, so had to pop on in here. Sorry, I'm a little bit late to everybody.
Hey, no worries, man. Look, we just got done talking with Tim Hall. You've been watching Tim Hall do his thing for years now. 2 back-to-back championships. The only man in the gasser classes to do that. And he's only 1 year removed from the last time he won a championship. And he comes out, us knowing that he's got a limited schedule. And from the tower, his race day, what did you notice? What stood out to you?
Honestly, nothing out of the ordinary. I expect that type of performance from the Hall family and Tim Hall. They are a cohesive unit. When they show up, you better be ready and see gas, because when they come through the gates, they mean business. They do their work at home. They've got everything ready when they get there. And then you saw this weekend when they had breakage and trouble, you know, they have the ability to fix that. Probably had some people helping out. I don't know. But I do know that after he won the race, he was talking about how there was round on him. I mean, what a great, great way to finish a race. And how do you handle that car? How do you drive it down track when you got a broken rear end that's moving around on you?
Right. I know. Wow. There's more driving happening at that point than I think we all realized, and probably even Tim realized. He was certainly in the interview in Victory Lane was kind of shocked that he was even there because of that. Yeah. So great driving for sure. Look, there's another side of that final round I definitely think we need to take the time to talk about before we transition to Daniel Haynes. Calling Daniel Haynes there on the other side in the green room before we talk with him and his weekend and what he's got going on and how different it was to see his car instead of be in his car there at Shadyside Dragway. Ernie Smith, what a performance this past weekend. Very cool, too, that he was auctioning up some helmets to help along with the fundraising efforts of others collecting T-shirts, the ride-along that Leslie Horn was doing for, for Carbureted Bob and his wife and what's going on there. Ernie Smith, he comes in and he's not qualified at the top. He qualified 5th, certainly respectable. But his matchup, I think, of the 3rd round matchup just shows the determination that I think Ernie has this year, maybe more so than other years in the past. He seems like he just has become hungrier and hungrier and hungrier. He takes out Jaron Purdue on a whole shot win in the 3rd round, gets the bye to go to the final, and narrowly misses out taking out Tim Hall. What a performance by Ernie in that 4-door.
Well, you know, he's got 4 doors on there because he has a lot of sponsors. It gives him more surface area to put sponsors on the cars. But Ernie Smith can't do it without those sponsors. I mean, look at it. This guy is the ultimate in the Rocky Balboa mentality. You might knock me down, but I'm getting back up. He has been a warrior for 10 years out here in the Southeast Gassers. There you see Wings, et cetera, Boiling Springs being a huge sponsor for him. Priority Heating and Air. I mean, just a great car. And that Todd Hertel has really made a big difference in Ernie's program as well, providing the engines there for him, that has been something that has really catapulted him to the top. Ernie will give you the shirt off his back, literally. I mean, he really will. And he's picked up some great new sponsors, Ike's Corner Grill and some others that I announced from the tower. And he is hungry to give a great performance for them and pick up more sponsors. So the hunger is there for Ernie. I mean, he is eclipsing the record for most starts ever in the Southeast Gassers, and just a true warrior behind the wheel. He'll give you everything he's got, and conversely, do anything in the world for you, just like the helmets, just like auctioning off. I mean, if he knows of someone in need and he can help, he'll do whatever. And he's part of what makes our family, the Southeast Gasser family, a tremendous family.
I agree. And you know what? He needs a clothing sponsor, though. With that Wrangler Dale Earnhardt look, I don't care who it is, he needs a clothing sponsor.
Maybe we can get Kevin Harrison at Harrison's Workwear, since they've been so involved in NASCAR with Josh Berry and people like that, and they helped Jeremy Clements this past weekend at Darlington. Right. Maybe we can get in touch with Kevin Harrison at Harrison's Workwear so he can outfit Ernie Smith in some period correct Wrangler.
That would be awesome. That would be great. That would be great. Complete the theme going.
He's one tough customer. He's one tough customer. Yes. If you remember Earnhardt's his motto was "I'm one tough customer," and that was Wrangler's motto. That was their slogan. He's one tough customer in C-Gas.
Ernie is. I spoke with Ernie in the staging lanes. Didn't interview him, just spoke with him. He's like, the driver has got things worked out and has started doing what he should have been doing. And I think Ernie Smith he's going to have a win before long. But I think more importantly, he's going to be someone that is going to be in that championship talk along with others in this category. And right now, wow, what great competition we have in so many of our categories. And we'll talk about it later, the fight that we're going to have in BGAS, I think, all year. And it looks like we're going to have a fight in AGAS all year. It is tremendous, the competition that we've got in all of the categories. Well, we're going to talk to someone that is going to be fighting a little different this year in 2025, and that is Mr. Daniel Haynes, your champion in 2024 in the BGAS category. He's not driving thus far this year, but he will be doing some driving, but not in BGAS. We'll talk to him about that. He has someone else in the car at Shadyside, though, and looking forward to chatting with him on that perspective of standing behind, looking at his Patriot hot rod going down the drag strip and how that was. So, folks, we're going to switch gears again. G-Force Transmission, the official 4-speed of the Southeast Gassers Association, and now talk with Mr. Daniel Haynes. You never know. He might have thought he needed some insurance with someone else in his car. This word from Larice.
Larice Motorsports Insurance offers drag racers the broadest insurance policies in the industry. Larice Motorsports Insurance was created by racers for racers. Larice insures race cars on and off the track, trailers and equipment. Larice even pays racers contingencies at the fling bracket races. Don't wait until it's too late. Call Larice Motorsports Insurance today.
All right, well, champ, Daniel Haynes, welcome to SEGA Live.
Thank you, sir.
Good to have you. Good to have you. And wow, what a weekend. I'm sure it felt good to be back at the track, even just with your car, even if you weren't in it.
It did. We still love this stuff. We're not trying to get away from it on a permanent basis or anything. Kind of like Tim said, after a while it gets to kind of be a full-time gig, and it's less fun when it is. It's fun to win, and it's fun to win championships, but it's a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. And, this stuff will kind of eat your life. But so we're just taking a little break, but we still love this stuff and want to be around. And so we'll be around at a good many races this season.
What came how did you come to the decision to put Rick Varner in the car?
Word got back to me that Rick was looking for a ride, and I want to see Rick back in the Southeast Gassers. You know, he was kind of done with it last year, and I think he decided that maybe wasn't what he wanted. So he's a good friend of mine. He offered me his car. He was running third place in 24, and he said, if you break your car, my car's your car. No questions. I don't want to hear anything about it. And so I felt like I ought to return the favor. So I said, hey, I got a car.
Your car, the Patriot Falcon Gasser. Give us the rundown on what this car is, make, model, combination you've got in it that took you to a championship and that Rick Varner held the wheel and jammed the gears at Shadyside this past weekend.
So it's a 62 Falcon. Really nothing special. Just a cheapo sedan. I picked this car up off the side of the road for like $600 in North Carolina and started cutting on it. And about 4 years later, we had a pretty cool little race car. It's a little small block Ford in it, 354 inches and an 8.2 deck Ford. Little AFR heads and a G-force transmission. I kind of go back and forth between a Ram and an advanced clutch. They're both, they both work really well for us depending on the situation. And there's no magic there. It's just a good little car.
Well, Daniel, that car has been a very consistent car over the years that you've been with the Southeast Gassers, and I know that you love Xenia, Ohio. I mean, you have done extremely well there. How's it going to feel this year? Is that on your list to go to Xenia to drive that Patriot, or are you sitting out of the Patriot all year?
We're unsure as of yet if we'll make it to Xenia or not, or whether or not we'll have a car if we do. It's just been undecided yet. We're kind of playing things by ear and just seeing how things pan out this season. If there is one that the car might make a return to, it might be Xenia.
All right, Daniel. Now tell us. It was your car and someone else was driving it. Give us the emotional roller coaster. Rick Varner knows what he's doing, but anybody stepping into a new ride, it's going to be different. And, well, like if I hopped into your car, you and I are like the same height. Rick's a lot taller than both of us. And anytime someone gets in a car that's taller to shorter and that nature, it's challenging. So walk us through the emotional and the practical challenge of Rick getting into your race car.
Well, there really wasn't all that much to it. Rick's a great driver. Rick's driven stuff way faster than I got, And, he's driven these gassers for as long as I have. We both started in 2019 at Shadyside. And, he's not a lot taller than me. I thought we might have a little space issue in the car, but he fit it very well. He was very comfortable in it. And the car is an easy driving car. And to be perfectly honest, it was pretty neat watching my car do what it does. I've never watched it do this before.
Interesting.
So no nerves at all watching that front end of that 62 get way up in the air and bounce down?
Nah, Rick had it covered. He's good. It's an
Just
easy car to drive.
Yeah, well, when it went up like that, I hadn't seen it get that high, and it was up there in the tower, so I was a little nervous myself.
Yeah, I think in that first round something kind of happened, maybe left a little low or something, and it doesn't like that.
Yeah. What is the next race that you guys plan to be at?
We will be at Knoxville. The car won't be, but we will. I think I've got a ride lined up at Knoxville. Funny enough.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, you did some testing this past weekend, and well, how is the AFX car?
So the AFX car is pretty good fun. It's 100% different than my car. First pass, I was really nervous in it. It sits very different from my car. It runs very different from my car. It feels very different from my car, and I was real nervous in it and never driven fuel injection before. And that fuel injected big block, it's a different animal. So the first pass we made in it, I was real nervous and trying to do everything like Todd told me to do. And well, it didn't go real well. I think I was paying too much attention to what I was doing and not enough attention to driving a race car. So we get in it for a second pass, and I kind of just drove it like a race car. And it made a pretty good little hit. I think it was one of the quicker passes of the night for AFX.
Here's some photos of you there at Shadyside. We can clearly see Todd out of it. He's experiencing what you're experiencing on the weekend at the same time while you're in someone else's hot rod. And yes, you sent it on down in that second pass. It was a good lap in the Southern Comfort. And hopefully by Knoxville, you're far more comfortable and able to go out there and compete. It's a good hot rod in AFX.
I think so. I think we can give them a little something to work for.
What's the launch like in that car?
It's soft. I don't know how to explain it. It's good. I'm sure it's the 9-inch tire, and the balance of the car is very different. It's different. It leaves hard. It's a torque monster. That big block on the alcohol and the fuel injection is a lot different animal than my little small block that's got to be spinning 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 RPMs to make any power. It really drove very well.
So Todd Wimberly is going to get out of the Southern Comfort when he has already been a proven race winner at South Georgia, and you're going to run the car in rounds of elimination where he could be making points for a championship. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. I think he has a prior obligation, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think the points work a little differently in AFX.
Okay. Well, we'll have to consult Angela Blackwell on that one. I hadn't heard it was working any differently, but
that'd be a good.
If you say so, we'll go with that.
Right.
It's certainly going to be interesting to see you in it, and you never know, you might get some funny business biting you and come out with another car. And you got the Patriot, maybe the AFX early funny car could be the Minuteman or continue some theme. Mary Beth's got to keep with the theme and the dress. She can't be going and changing per car. You got to keep it easy for her.
Oh yeah, we got to keep the theme for sure. You never know. Stuff can happen. When the Patriot makes a return, that's right. When the Patriot makes a return, things may be a lot different. Who knows?
Well, Daniel, for our fans, how long have you been racing with the Southeast Gassers? And if you could talk just a little bit about what the Southeast Gasser Association, the family, has meant to your family as you travel these thousands of miles every year.
So we started racing the beginning of 2019, and so six full seasons. I think I missed one race the first 3 seasons, and I don't believe we've missed one since. We just came over, and I had been kind of associated for maybe 4 years prior to that with the association, and kind of made friends with some people, and it was good to introduce those people to my family, and they're just like family to us.
So everybody has a day job. What is your day job?
I work on overhead cranes. I'm a mechanic and electrician, troubleshooter.
Nice.
20
that
years.
Sounds like fun, actually.
It's not a bad gig. It's a nice niche.
So that's why you've got no issue sending it high and looking at the sky. You're already up there.
Well, yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, Daniel, look, man, congratulations again on the championship. And it would be great if you were fully defending it, but certainly respect the decisions that you and your family have made. And it is certainly good to see you all at the track, and cannot wait to see you at the track again. And certainly looking forward to you in the AFX category and seeing what happens at Knoxville. Thank you for your time right here on the show. Good to hear from you, champ.
Thank you, guys. Good evening.
Take care, man.
You too.
Good stuff.
David, Daniel Haynes, what an intense competitor, always a threat. And last year, he finally gets it done in the BGAS category and earns that championship, something he'd been fighting for a time.
He had, and been very close. He was on the cusp of it a couple of different times. As I said before, I referenced Killcare Dragway at Xenia, Ohio, how that was his breakthrough right there, and he's been very hot at that track. But I want to tell you something. He's not just a troubleshooter on his day job. This man is a highly intelligent, skilled worker, and he works on that Patriot, rubs on that Patriot. His brother Kim Haynes helps him a lot on that, and they do a ton of work themselves. They don't just go out and buy parts that they bolt on horsepower. They can make the parts. Very, very ingenious man is Daniel Haynes. He can do just about anything he puts his head to. And that's what makes our association even more cool. Is it's not like I'm going to go bolt on a supercharger. I'm going to go bolt on a turbo.
Right.
These guys know how to tweak it, tune it, rub on it, adjust it to get it where it needs to be.
It really is a beautiful thing on two respects. I love where we have got overall in car culture that you can make a whole lot of horsepower and have a whole lot of speed for the least amount of money probably than it ever has been, honestly. Like, you don't have to have the know-how of some of the great names in the past to go fast. That's cool. That makes it where the average Joe can bolt on some things, go racing, and compete. But that's not the case in the Southeast Gas Association.
That's
you got to have
correct.
some know-how. You got to have some ingenuity. You got to have some smarts, if you will, to get these cars to hook and go and move very quickly, because you're doing it on a platform that honestly is outdated. There's a reason that gassers are not in the modern day. But it is fascinating what these individuals have figured out with the platform, naturally aspirated, manually shifted, without any driver aids, to go as fast and as quick as they are going. It is wildly impressive.
It really is. It's amazing that you have this capability of kind of taking it back. You drive by the seat of your pants, you drive by your ear, what you hear, paying attention to the tachometer. I mean, you don't, no shift lights, none of that. I think it takes great skill to do that. All the great drivers, I believe, not only drive by the seat of their pants, but they drive by what they can hear as well. And it is very fun to watch these women and men be able to wield these cars down the racetrack and run the numbers that they're running. Is absolutely impressive.
Well, Dejanay, I was going to ask you the same thing. You just answered the question I was going to ask you. You coming on board with us this year and seeing that smile on your face every time I see you at one of our events, and it's only been 2, but that's what I see on you. You have recognized the beauty and the uniqueness of what we are trying to do here in the Southeast Gassers, and it's so great to see that transition as we go to different tracks. And I've always just fell in love because I'm missing my grandfather, my father. They've gone on to glory. But that's what I love to watch, as a grandfather talk to his grandson or to his son, and they're passing that down, and they go, I had a car like that when I was in high school, and we did this and we did that. And then when you talk about some of our drivers being 40 and above, then you also go back to the Briley Stotts, the Michael Odens who are listening and learning to drive by the seat of their pants without driver aids. And so the future is very bright as well.
It really is. And that's what's impressive to me. Another weekend for Briley, and bringing that beautiful candy apple red car out there. The handwork that was done on that race car, absolutely impressive. I thought once again he had another day where he could have stole a win there, but it was great competition this weekend. And the things that I like so much that make you smile is it's the little things with these cars. You see the Yosemite Sam on the back there, but the student driver on the back trunk is absolutely the most clever thing that we see. And there's a lot of clever things we see on these cars, but I love that stuff. That is really giving the driver some personality, showing some personality. And that's something that, can get fans and grab fans to root for whoever their driver may be.
Yes,
you're right. And that transitions into people coming to the show, coming to the race, because you're not going to see the little battery box that Alan Pittman has in the back of that 41 Willis, or the oil can he's got up front for a dump, a puke tube or something like that. Those little bitty fine-tuned nuances that they put on the cars really put them over the top in the nostalgia category.
They do. There's a lot of fine touches, and it is so cool out there. And BGAS, since we're there, let's talk about it. Let's dive in. We look at South Georgia Motorsports Park, and the youngsters showed up and showed out. But if I may say, it was the experienced older fellas doing the showing up and showing out at Shadyside. Not that Ken Rainwater's old, nor is Ted. Ted's still young. But nonetheless, the experienced racers were in the final round, and Ken Rainwater picks up the win, his first win in many, many years. This former champion, this individual that has won a lot of Southeast Gases Association races, has been working hard. He put a lot of work in the offseason, and it has showed up already. And we have got, I think, possibly in BGAS, the fight of fights out of all the categories in Southeast Gases Association drag racing, with the likes of Michael Oden and Briley Stott. Then you've got Ken Rainwater, you've got Ted McKee, and you've got other players in it as well. BGAS is one of those that at the weekend race you circle and you keep your eye on.
It really is. And I've loved BGAS. I mean, I've kind of carried that flag this year and said BGAS may be the most competitive one. But you're right. Ken Rainwater has more laps down a drag strip than anybody in BGAS. I feel confident in saying that because he's got a storied career. But you know what? That's what makes the Southeast Gassers so difficult, is he has been to the top of the mountain. Something happened. I don't know what it is. Some people caught up. Some people got better. Rainwater didn't win since 2022, 23. You know, he went a year without a win. They absolutely were pulling their hair out last year, but they kept grinding. They kept grinding. And you saw the relief in his eyes in victory lane. And when he come off the racetrack, he lowered his elapsed time every time that car went down the racetrack. And had a little text message from him today, and or one of his crew members, and they said people have already contacted Huntsville Motors down there, Race Engines, where he gets his engines from, wanting to know his combination. So people are taking notice there, and it's not just that. They got a lot of things going down there. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, this was a Greg Anderson, Dallas Glenn type of day for Ken Rainwater. I mean, he's running 650. He's running a 564 and lowering it in the 60s while everybody else is living in the 70s. And we're talking about 75. Nobody was close. He was just throwing haymakers on every pass, and he literally dominated this past weekend. It was a clinic for sure, and it was fun to watch though.
Absolutely, and that the semifinals, Ted McKee got the bye, but you have after Briley Stott and Michael Oden meet each other, battle of the young guns, the youngsters. Yes. It's a 75-74, and Michael picks up the win. Well, Michael then goes on and faces Ken. So all these players met each other on the drag strip of battle and duked it out. And Ken was on the top at the end of the day. Again, BGAS this year. What a fight we are going to have for that championship. And you see the performance of Ken Rainwater at a Shadyside that is not the track that South Georgia Motorsports Park was, and not because Shadyside isn't a good track, but just because it was warmer. Just because of those conditions. As Ken continues to go into warmer months, it's like, man, that might be the car and the driver. If they can do that from qualifying and into eliminations, quicken the pace each and every time. That hot weather tune-up for Ken Rainwater is looking really good right now.
It really is. And I tell you what, a lot of credit and a shout out to Shadyside Dragway and the crew there providing a excellent racetrack. And, sometimes you think you go to kind of a mom and pops type of track and, you don't know what to expect. That's Chamber of Commerce type of work there. That it was a plush track. It was good all day. They kept it clean, and the times and these classes showed that. Great work by that team there at Shadyside Dragway, and that gave the fans some incredible action because that track was, for being hot, that was a hell of a racetrack.
Well, this is not their first rodeo with the Southeast Gassers. They've been a stalwart on our schedule 2 times a year for at least the last 5-6 years I know of. And Zach and Seth Buff have taken that family business and elevated it and used every bit of resources. They just roll it back into the track. I mean, they might make some money, but they roll it back in there because they're constantly working. It's a family affair. Everybody with the last name of Buff, and even their friends and family from the other side, they grabbed it onto the rope and they pull together. I mean, look at those new stands that they put up. I mean, I think the stands will somewhere between 800 to 1,200 people it'll hold. You got seating right there underneath it. I mean, and you're elevated, so you're looking down on the racetrack, and you can see those cars come up. It makes for some beautiful shots, as we're seeing right here from some of our photographers that cover our events. You can't ask for more than what they put out there for us.
Yeah, great. Again, they keep making that place better to go to. And honestly, in this day and time that we're in, that's really all tracks need to do. Every track does not need to be Z-Max Dragway, but continue to make improvements. Make sure you got hot water in the ladies' bathroom, and that's all about, and have some decent food in the concession stand, and that's about all you got to do. Okay? And they're doing that and more at Shadyside Dragway. Like, look, they knew they had a parking problem. I think they've got that really figured out. Does it take a little while still to get in there? But yes, but they have got a system, and that system is working right now. Like, I love how if you've got a golf cart, they're going to park you further away because that just makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, drive your golf cart down the hill. That makes sense. I like what they're doing. They are certainly managing things very well, and the future is bright for Shadyside Drag Strip. And yeah, some great photos from Adam Dobbs acting as SEGA official photographer this past weekend. They have been great to have and as a resource and to pull from, and to already have those on social media, and then have the final rounds pictured with the winners and get those out there so people know who won. It's important, and was glad to do that. Adam did some great work. Everybody with SEGA. Again, there are so many professional people within the organization getting the job done from Angela, Bonnie, yourself, David, the crew with Chris and Dugenet, and Rocky down there managing things now, wearing several different hats, Rocky Platt, and the tech department with Sam and John, many of them doing a tremendous job, and another great event there for Southeast Gas Association at Shadyside. It was a great day of racing.
Before we leave that point, I just have to say the old coach in me, 30 years of coaching, I love what Rocky is doing. He said it's a team approach, and you're right, Lee. Everybody is pulling on that end of the rope together to make this a great association, and I think you're seeing that in people coming through the gates.
Absolutely. So BGAS, well, plenty more categories to talk about, and let's take the time. We'll roll through some of the other classes and winners from this past weekend. Here's a look of the final. In the left lane here, you've got Robert Frazier in his Volvo. He was able to win over Doug Loudermilk once again in the Volkswagen. And looks like right now in HGAS, that's the two competitors. That's going to be the fight. I certainly hope we see some other individuals figure out the combination and step up, but they have already represented two finals this year in a class that, hey, I hear a lot of folks, they're like, man, I like HGAS. It's just different. It's wacky. It's cool. And it is interesting to see a Volvo and a Volkswagen going up against each other in the final round of a Southeast Gassers Association event in North Carolina. Who would have write that?
Yeah, it makes me smile every time. The VW Bug is close to my heart. My mom has one, and that was something my dad drove in his day. I thought he had an opportunity to win, but it's pretty impressive. First two races to be in the final round is very impressive. And it's a matter of time before we see that VW Bug with a trophy on top in the winner's circle.
And how about Robert Frazier making the statement that there'll be a new motor in that 63 Volvo at the next event at the Bama Bash? He's got another motor he's going to put in there. I mean, he's won both events and he's going to change motor. Surely he's not going to come to the Bama Bash without that motor and just leave it at home. I mean, surely not.
If he comes with a new motor and it's doing well, I'm sure some folks are gonna be like, "Hey, where's that other one? Can we get it? Can we,
right?
Yeah. Hey, talk about hunger as a competitor. Not going to rest on what we got. Let's see if we can make it just a little bit better. And, just like a lot of these AGAS competitors, if they hurt something, they've got probably one in the back of the trailer that it might not be as good, but it's old reliable and they can pop it in the engine bay and go on in the race. I don't think Robert's thinking any different.
No, he's not. He's confident in his approach, and why shouldn't he be? He and his wife Rita have been winners in every category they've ever been in.
That says a lot.
It does. It does. Well, possibly the most energetic man of all in the Southeast Gassers Association, Alan Platt, picks up a win in the Georgia Shaker in AFX over Robbie Walden in the Moonshot Hot Rod. And Alan, man, he was excited to be a winner in the Southeast Gassers Association.
And he should be. There were all those cars were great. All those cars were great. The Southern Comfort was running quite well, had some great qualifying passes there to be number one. But, man, what a day. And it was clear this weekend that it was going to have to be on the starting line where you were going to have to win this thing, because pretty much every car had an opportunity to win. All of them ran right in the sixes. The highest one, the Moonshot 624 with that 9. But it was going to be tough sledding all the way through. And to go through the gauntlet, come out on the other end as a winner. Hey, man, kudos.
Well, I got to say, I've seen Alan Platt for years bring this car out, display it, show it, be a torchbearer for the AFX category in honor of his father, Hall of Famer Hubert Platt. And for the first time now, since it's a championship point category, for him to take home a cup, it's got to be extremely gratifying after the body of work that he's put together. I mean, those cars aren't cheap. And if you go over to his pit, he has got a plethora of history on his dad, his uncle, Houston Platt. I mean, the Dixie Twister fame. He's got a ton of stuff over there, and he loves to talk about his dad, his uncle. He really does a wonderful job carrying on that family name, just as Rocky does, you know, with his dad being Houston Platt. But you could just see it in his eyes. He was almost in tears in Victory Lane because the car performed. He said, I know Dad's looking down on me, and he's smiling today, probably smoking a big old cigar while he's jamming gears up there in heaven. I mean, what a better way to honor your father than to put that identical replica in Victory Lane.
And Carl, great point. Forgot all about that. Let's not forget that Alan had a little shake, rattle, and roll. He was driving that thing like he stole it, and the old tail tagged the wall there and ripped that bumper off. He was able to get that thing back just like nothing happened and comes out, get the W. That's impressive. That is absolutely impressive.
Now, Dugenay, you being new to the Southeast Gassers, that's not Carl Claymore.
That's not
That's
Carl.
West Virginia Bones.
Okay, West Virginia.
He's got
Bones.
a nickname, and he's.
Gotcha.
I'm going to take you to him, and I'm going to personally introduce you to him. He is. His name truly is Carl Claymore. Wonderful fan. He has been. I don't know if he's missed too many events in the time that I've been with the Southeast Gassers. Drives from West Virginia every event. He is one of the originals with us.
Awesome.
But he knows a ton of history as well. And yeah, great point there, Bones. He hit that wall, and I was like, oh my gosh. You know, I thought he maybe knocked the rear end loose out of that thing, but what a job by Alan Platt.
Yeah.
Goes on, gets the win in AFX, becomes the second winner in the AFX category as a championship class in the Southeast Gassers Association. And we roll into Superstock. And, well, guess who? He says he's extremely lucky. Next time he says that, I'm stopping him. Because, no, they're not. They just put in a whole lot of work to go out there and to compete at a very high level and win and dominate. And that is Jerry Dean, yet again, winning in the Superstock category.
Yeah, it's
Well, I'll start this one out, and I'll just say that Jerry Dean's new nickname to me is the Sandman. Because around the golf course, if you've got sand in your shoes, it means you're a sandbagger. I think Jerry Dean's a sandbagger. He's got plenty left in that car, but I will give him this. He and Karen Mitchell, they know their car so well. They do a tremendous job. They may have, I don't know how many pairs of shocks they've got for that car, but that is a big, big deal while you're on that 7-inch Mickey Thompson trying to get it to the racetrack. They adhere to the rules with the shock package, but man, do they do a tremendous job of getting that car to handle and transferring that horsepower to the ground.
Yeah, they were a country mile ahead of the field from qualifying to race day. That car was on, as quarterbacks say when they're ready to kill the first play, kill, and they definitely killed it during this race here at Shadyside to get the win.
And
Yeah,
now
you
we
can
go
tell-
to Holiday Raceway in his own home state. So what's he going to do down there?
Right. You get a sense when you talk with the fellow Superstock competitors that they realize how outgunned they are by the last Rebel 2, and that they want to catch, and they're working on catching him, but catching him is going to be a great feat with Jerry Dean and Karen Mitchell and what they're doing in the class right now. It is certainly impressive. And look, I hope people will take the time to appreciate it. A lot of times I see this in other areas, and I'm not saying anyone is doing this, but please take the time to appreciate it, because oftentimes we see someone dominating in other areas of motorsports and people get fed up with it, or they start hating on it, or they like, we know, and whatever. Appreciate this. It's not going to last. You've got Jerry saying it himself. People are going to catch up. People are going to get quicker. But however long this run goes, let's just appreciate it for what it is. That you've got Jerry driving well, Karen figuring things out, them working as a team, and they're sending that Chevrolet down the drag strip, turning on wind lights routinely. And it is impressive.
Yeah, I think that's well said, Lee. Oftentimes, we see teams or, cars and other motorsports dominate, and, racers sometimes want to take their keys in their car and go home. And sometimes you just got to sit back, you got to look at it, and you're like, you know what? That team's worked really hard, and you just got to go over there and shake their hand for what they're doing and just appreciate it, because it doesn't always happen this way. And like you said, it doesn't last. Eventually, you're continuing to work. Whoever you are, you're continuing to work. The others around you are continuing to work to get better. And at some point, you catch them. And sometimes the wheels fall off for whatever reason. You might lose a little bit on the combination. You might have a gremlin somewhere. In drag racing, anything is possible. So, I think that's a very good point to keep fighting the fight. It's not over until it's over. But if it's a dominant season, the only thing you can do is smile and shake the man's hand and tell him congratulations. That's all.
And we saw that at this event. I said it a couple of times from the tower, and we'll get to AGAS, and that's what I'm thinking about the most with Ben Christopher,
Me too.
I mean, we'll get to that and explain that, but that's why we don't race them on paper. That's another reason why, you can turn on the scoreboards and run an incredible elapsed time, and I'm thinking that I'm the top dog. Well, Lee Craft could beat me because I can't get my horsepower to get to the ground for the next run. You know what I mean? I mean, it's that beauty of drag racing that really it's brought out here.
Yeah,
absolutely. We do not race them on paper. You never know what might happen. It is not a pre-concluded matter of what is going to happen on the drag strip until it does happen. Jerry, is he the oldest competitor right now? No. Or I think it's Ron, isn't it, Ron?
Ron Allison, 78 years old.
Yeah, which we haven't seen Ron this year. Hopefully he's back out soon. Would love to see him. I know he was working on the SEGA combination the last time, right? Last year. Okay.
Yes.
So,
and we Mid-South Motorsports there. We got to thank Ron. He helps provide the scooters for all of our personnel at our events, and we'll probably see Ron, if not at Bama, I'm sure we'll see him at Knoxville.
All right, we have, with talking to Tim and now Daniel, covered CGAS and BGAS as well. We've talked Superstock, AFX, HGAS. Left on the list is AGAS, the quickest and fastest in the Southeast Gassers Association. And as we take the time to talk about them, let me take the time to mention that you need to step up your stick shift game. And certainly if you're going to compete in AGAS, you're going to have to do that. And you can do that with Ram clutches, single and multi-disc drag race systems. They also have single disc clutch kits, 5 levels to choose from, and billet steel and aluminum flywheels made in the USA. They've got a combination that works for the Southeast Gassers Association and beyond. I've seen their equipment in the Mountain Motor Pro Stock world, street racing, drifting, beyond. Ram clutches. If you need to, ram it, it's got to be with Ram clutches to get you on down the track, no matter what it is, as long as it's a manual, as long as it's got a clutch. Ram clutches, look them up, and they can certainly get you on the right track. AGAS. Man, so many storylines, as usual, in a Southeast Gassers Association drag race, but from testing to round 1 all the way into the final, the stories in AGAS are so compelling. Like, I still have the press release to write up, and a bulk of it is going to be AGAS, and not just because they're the quickest and the fastest, but the storylines that are in it from this past weekend are just that rich. And let's start from the top. We have Friday night. You have Greg Stelz and the Joker. They have drove all night after working on that hot rod in Wapaka, Wisconsin. They roll in about 4 p.m. Eastern time to North Carolina. They fire up the car to take a test hit, and there is a knock in that engine bay. And there's a problem. And they begin working on it. Leslie Horn, Chick Magnet, Southeast Gas Association owner, goes down the road to the shop, picks up a spare bullet, and they change the motors in the Joker to a Gene Fulton built, Leslie owned bullet to be ready for race day.
And you can hear that. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Dujana. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, you can hear the explanation from Greg on the Not Bland Show page, where we took a clip, got him there as they were working on the car, and were able to give the fans an explanation on what happened and why they had to make this switch. Very impressive for a team that he was really just looking to try to make a shakedown and hit the bed. And for them to be able to work on this car and it to be able to perform the way it did on Saturday says a lot, because when you're that tired, you've been driving that long, they were really trying to get some nap time. And it takes a lot of focus to make sure you don't make a mistake in putting that car back together. So a round of applause for Greg, the Joker, and that team for what they were able to do, and then to come out on Saturday and perform quite well.
You're exactly right. And what kind of guy is Leslie Horn to give him his backup bullet that was only about 15 miles from Shadyside at his home, bring it up there. Then Marty and Terry Robbins from Robbins Repairables throws a $500 bounty out there to anybody who can knock Leslie Horn off in eliminations. And then Greg Stelz takes Leslie Horn's motor and eliminates Leslie Horn, the champ. He eliminates him and gets $500 and says, "Thanks for letting me use your motor there, pal. Appreciate it."
Yeah, I kind of called that. I saw that coming. That was great, though. Great story, too. And the staging duel on the starting line for that matchup was the highlight, one of the highlights of the day in AGAS. Man, not only did they sit there, had a little bit of a burn down, and then he plucks them off with his own bullet. It was that was a very, very fun round. Very impressive. by Greg and his team. So many things could have gone wrong with being so tired. So it really was a cool moment in AGAS.
Absolutely a cool moment. Adam Dobbs was able to capture some of that emotion from the Joker team there after turning on the win light against Leslie Horn. They were absolutely ecstatic, finally able to beat Leslie in elimination competition. They had met many times before, and it had been Leslie getting the upper hand, but this time the Joker, defeathered the chick magnet, and he's got no cluck to cluck at this moment after this matchup. And I'm sure Leslie Horn will say something like, well, it's only because of my motor, something like that. We'll have to hear it at the next event in some way, shape, form, or fashion. You know it's going to be the case. But what a great matchup. And it was so cool to see that excitement, the exuberance of we won. We finally did this. And nobody's been able to hear the interview yet. I got an interview right as Greg pulled up into his pit, and all that will be rolling out in time from Shadyside as edit that content. But he's like, I needed that win mentally to say that I have beat the chick magnet, to say that I have beat Leslie Horn. And I think the fan base needed it. Like, from what I understand, the fans went kind of nuts in the stands with
they did.
Finally Greg Stelz turning on the win light over Leslie Horn.
You're exactly right. I mean, it was palpable. You could hear the explosion of, people in the tower, and I was up there closed up. I could hear it. So, Dugenais, I know you heard it right down there because you were right there with the fans.
Yeah, it was a loud roar, and even the people that were along the fence there, out there where I was at, it was a huge eruption of excitement for that round, and it really was. It was a beautiful, beautiful round, very close, and Greg got him.
Well, and I must tell you, for all the fans, I know you guys know this. For all the fans, this is not the first time that Leslie Horn has done this. Ben Christopher had a problem a year ago, and he was having some problems getting his parts in and getting his motor done. Leslie let him borrow a motor for almost the entire year, and Ben finished second in the points to Leslie last year. So, I mean, Ben wanted to race. That's what Ben Christopher is. He's a racer. Parts delays, other things happened, kept him from getting his bullet. And Leslie said, dude, I know you want to race. Take this one. I mean, he had it before I even knew it. So Leslie did it not wanting any accolades or anything like that. He just wanted his buddy to get to the racetrack and be able to race. Same scenario right here. And that's not. But that's the kind of competitors we have. If Tim Hall had an extra motor, he'd lend it to Todd Oden and then try to outrun Todd Oden and vice versa. So it really speaks volumes for what Leslie did. And then, as we know, to lose to him, that was kind of salt and sore.
Well, as you mentioned, Ben Christopher, possibly the lowest moment of the day for any competitor at Shadyside. Ben Christopher, number one qualifier, and ladies and gentlemen, number one qualifier by a bunch.
What?
Nobody had anything for Ben Christopher if you just look at it numbers to numbers. And again, we don't race him on paper because in round one, the burnout, a burnout that will live in Ben Christopher's mind for a very long time, it broke. There was pieces, metallic pieces coming out of the exhaust. No good whatsoever. And the pushback of shame is what he had to experience. He remarked when I interviewed him right after this moment that I had an easy path to the finals. And you look at the ladder, yes, he really did. But in racing, these very things can happen. And one of the best competitors there is in AGAS and in all of Southeast Gases Association went out due to mechanical failure, and it opened up that ladder in AGAS unlike any other thing could. But Ben Christopher experiencing a low of lows in drag racing.
Yeah, I can't imagine what was going through his head as that photo was taken right there, because he's got the new Jason Line Motorsports motor. I think that was a refresh motor that was in there, so he's got a new one to go in there. Ben's got 2 bullets, but I know that that was absolutely the longest push back that he ever has had, because all he probably wanted to do was get out of that car as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, he had the best car on the premises again, and it's heartbreaking because I think we all talked about it last week, and he was my mention to have an opportunity to get the win here, and yeah, he was definitely stumping a mud hole in the field and walking it dry there in qualifying. Had an opportunity to really just get to the final, and likely would have turned on that win light in the final to get the W. I know he'll be back, and he's got a little bit of extra, incentive and a little bit of extra get back and anger to get out here and get back out here and try to do this again. And he's going to be a tough customer when he does, and if he does come back in Holiday, he's going to be a tough customer. 2 times he felt he let one slip away as SGMP, and this here, he's going to be dangerous when we start back at Holiday Raceway.
Well, I can tell you, he'll be at the Bama Bash. There's no doubt. Ben Christopher, I texted him, and he said the motor was already at Jason Lines on Sunday, and they'll be ready when it comes time to get to the Bama Bash.
Well, another individual in AGAS that had a spectacular day is someone that we talked about right here on the show before getting to Shadyside. He returns again to a final at Shadyside in the spring race. That's Barry Lynn in that little red wagon. Ran well and did what was necessary to make another final round appearance at Shadyside, and has really made himself out with his driving and with what they've done to that car. Brian Harris helping out, from what I understand, that he's someone that you've got to keep your eye on race day.
No doubt. Barry Lynn, another, we just talk about it. It's hard for me not to brag on our association because we've got such quality people. And Barry Lynn has been there since day one. He doesn't beat on his chest. He's not, look at me, but he's consistent. He's there. You got to respect him every time he cranks that par race engine. He's on point to beat you, and just continues to do a great job. Again, another man that will give you the shirt off his back. He's very personable. Fans love him, and we're just fortunate to have him, and I'm fortunate to call him a friend.
Yeah, it was a great day for him. I know in that final, he knew he had to get something. It had to be very, very sharp on the tree there, turned on the red light, but I understand it. Chase Howard running great numbers all day in the 30s, and he knew he had to get something off the starting line there if he wanted to have a chance to get a win and possibly a whole shot win there. So sometimes you got to do that, man. You know what you're facing, and sometimes you just gotta chop the tree down if you can. And if she stays green, you at least have given yourself an opportunity to have a chance when you hit the finish line.
And a red light by only 3/10,000ths of a second too soon.
Yeah.
3/10,000ths of a second from a perfect light. Now, some people say a perfect light's an accident, but if he had a perfect light, I sure would have liked to seen that car run all the way to the big end if he could have beat Chase Howard this day.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it was Chase Howard in AGAS competition in the USA 1 machine you have that moment, or I was able to have that moment with someone like Alan Platt, and he is just ecstatic. Like, almost like, okay, I know you won, but let's calm down. Let's not have a stroke here type moment. He is just ecstatic. And you then have a moment with Chase, not saying he wasn't excited, but I think he was relieved. Like, finally, we have been so close to winning again. He has had multiple runner-ups. He had a runner-up where he was going for it so hard last year at Kilcare, he put it in the wall. And they've been able to come back from that to this very moment, win at their home track, and display to everybody that they are just as much as a threat as anyone else in competition. And we've got here another winner in AGAS. We have Leslie Horn winning the first race of the year. We've got Chase Howard winning the second race of the year. And AGAS certainly not a category within the Southeast Gases Association that you should think, oh, this car, this team, they've got it this weekend. That is certainly not the case. Chase Howard with the win there at the Shelby Nationals.
And Lee, as you pointed out, they have been thrashing in the shop a great deal. There you see his dad and all the crew, Scotty Cannon there helping on the car and getting a lot of the handling worked out on that chassis and providing six-time Pro Modified World Champion, arguably the greatest Pro Mod driver ever. There he is helping Chase Howard. So you may see more of this in Victory Lane this year.
Yeah, tough car. It was lights out, and I don't expect anything to change as we get into week 3 of this champion, this regular season here. So he's going to be a tough customer all the way to the end, I believe.
I agree. We have got some great racing right now in the Southeast Gassers Association, and until people in some of these categories just find it, I think we can expect different winners. Go back to last year, AGAS, until Leslie Horn and Brian Harris got those knobs turned just right, we didn't know when we were going to have a repeat winner. We didn't think it was going to happen. It didn't happen anytime soon. The first 5 races, all different winners. And then you've got Leslie with the makeup race at Kentucky. They're also at Mooresville back-to-back. He is able to then start that ride to the championship, picking up 5 in a row. So you have these different winners already starting in AGAS. We've got different winners in BGAS. We've got different winners in CGAS. We've got different winners in AFX. The only 2 categories where we've seen repeat is HGAS and Superstock. And, oh, by the way, that wasn't unexpected, though the competition is coming. What great racing we've got right now at the Southeast Gassers Association. And that is with someone like Todd Oden. He was there, but had mechanical issues, wasn't able to go into race day. We can expect him back in full force, certainly for the Bama Brawl, not too far down the road from him. And we have so much to look forward to in SEGA racing right now. And that just means, folks, I'm going to bring it up. May 2nd and 3rd, Holiday Raceway. First time ever for the Southeast Gassers Association to visit this raceway in Alabama. It's a return to Alabama. It is the Bama Brawl, and it is going to be a brawl, and you need to be there. There is no more exciting card in drag racing, especially that weekend in Alabama, but the Bama Brawl, presented by One Way Technologies. You need to be there.
Most definitely. Don't need to miss that at all. It should be one heck of a throwdown there in that Bama Brawl.
And with all the cars and drivers that we have hailing from Alabama, it's going to be a great turnout out there with people and fans and interactions in between. Todd Oden, all those guys, Alan Lovelady, John McLaughlin, you got Rainwater, you got the man you see right there, Jerry Dean. You got all those guys from Alabama, and they're going to be trying to put their best foot forward and defend their home turf there at Holiday Raceway.
It's going to be a good show, and I wouldn't be surprised with so many great competitors from Alabama that Alabama does a lot of winning in the categories that they represent there at the Bama Brawl. But you never know. Some South Carolinians, some North Carolinians, and some Tennesseans, they just might show up down to Alabama and whip those Alabama boys just like it happened in college football this year for so many of them.
Might be some Georgians in there too.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Just yeah, maybe everybody needs to put an SEC sticker of their favorite team or something on their car. You might not want to do that because Tides can't roll.
Not a sticker,
but
yeah, let's go
so, I'm gonna catch for that one for sure from my wife. Yep. But nonetheless,
ladies, just don't bring any toilet. Don't bring any laundry detergent and toilet paper. So,
yes, right, absolutely. Yeah, I haven't met an Auburn fan yet in SEGA racing. That says a lot. So,
because we got winners.
Wow. Oh,
now,
yes.
If Vincent Bo Jackson shows up, I'm changing that story. Okay.
Yes.
This is the island of relevancy.
Yeah.
Those folks are on the island of irrelevancy.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, look, the Bama Brawl is going to be a whole lot of fun. I cannot wait to get there. Love going to new tracks, and certainly it's going to be a great place to be and have a drag race. You need to be there. Make sure you put it in your calendar, and we have so much to look forward to. You know, I was just thinking as we were talking, as we're nearing the end of this show, didn't mention some other competitors that had a good showing. Ben Shaw, they showed up and had a great day, and certainly are showcasing that the odd rod, it shouldn't be odd to see them go rounds this year in competition. And that was the case for many competitors at Shadyside. So I certainly hope many of them make the tow to Alabama, and we continue to see the great competition and racing of SEGA play out on the track, because it is good. You know, I just got to say this. If you look at car count and you think to yourself, I'm not going to go because the car count is low, you're missing out. It does not always have to be 80, 90 cars. 50 cars can be a good show, and you still have great storylines. Now, we didn't have 50 for Shadyside. We had more, don't get me wrong. But we had great storylines at South Georgia Motorsports Park. It doesn't matter about the car count. It's about the quality of the racers and the quality of the organization, and you've got that with the Southeast Gassers Association. So don't you let car count scare you. You show up and enjoy some great drag racing, and that's going to happen at a Southeast Gassers Association race.
Facts.
That's for sure. And I bet you're going to meet somebody that's going to be able to become a friend.
For sure.
No doubt.
For sure. Well, folks, thank you for watching. This has been another installment of SEGA Live. It's actually episode number 5. We hit a milestone, a small one, but nonetheless, milestones. And we're going to continue it. We won't be on next week. kind of the idea with this show when it was originally conceived is it's kind of a every other type of week show. So we're going to take a break, and you will hear from us definitely before the Bama Brawl, but we might take a little bit of a break because it fell in such a way where it was several back-to-back shows. And, well, we don't want to talk too much. You might get tired of us. Myself, Lee Kraft, David Lancaster, and Mr. Dugenet Bland over there, host of the Not Bland Show. But this has been a whole lot of fun. Thank you for your time, Tim Hall, Daniel Haynes, and certainly, David, what you got?
I promised big news.
You
Just
did.
Hot off the text message. I got big news.
We'll give it to us.
For all our fans who've been bringing this up for years, and all our people saying, don't do this, you don't do this, and it should be this way, management has listened. In every race that we run this year, the finals for every category will have the scoreboards on in all final rounds of all races, not just Shadyside or another race. Every race that we run, the finals, every category will have the scoreboards turned on for the fans. You heard it here first on SEGA Live.
All right. Well, very cool.
Awesome.
I think that's a good balance of hearing the fans and those that do want it and doing that. I personally, I don't understand how people are so enamored with it. First time I ever came to a SEGA event and saw the racing action and what was going on, I'm like, I don't need times. There's a win light, and I see good racing in front of me.
Yeah.
So I don't know why. That is a modern luxury that people are trying to impose on a drag racing reenactment. And I like the balance, though, of, yes, for the finals, we'll turn them on. We'll give them that glimpse because, look, Quayne Stott has said it for many years, certainly agree with him. You go to a mom-and-pop track back in the day, they're not going to have a timing system. Very few of them had timing systems. Now, you go to a national event of that day, you would have had timing systems, but you still wouldn't have had scoreboards. It would have been on the announcer to announce the time. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, you would have only more than likely during the time of that day got one time and 1 mile per hour because the timing systems actually couldn't time both cars.
Yeah.
So you put it all together. I like the balancing act of in the finals, we'll show it, because I also like how SEGA is representing and does it in many areas, from manual shift, cars need to look period correct, things have to be painted on, so on, so on, so on. So I like the package. That's a very good balancing act.
Agreed.
And also, any elapsed time record will be announced as well. If it's in qualifying, if it's in the third round, second round, and then it'll also be announced if they back that up and establish it as the new record. Those numbers will be given to our fans in attendance. Yeah. Or if we have a live stream, you'll hear that.
Right. And that just makes sense, because if you announce something as a record but don't actually share what the record is, that's a secret, not a record.
Yeah.
So I like that move as well. And, obviously some of you, some folks might have already read, for example, the press releases that I have put out, and I'll put times in there. Why am I doing that? Well, you would have read National Dragster and there would have been times. So again, it's not like there's no such thing, but if we're going to be also of a level where it's nationals, such as Shelby Nationals and world champions, there is a balancing act, I think, there. And I think this does strike that balance very well, mentioning records being announced and the final rounds with the scoreboards on. I think that's a good place to be.
It is. I'll tell you, I didn't know what to expect at the first event. And when I didn't seeing these scoreboards on, I was like, oh, okay, this is simple. We're just going to worry about who's going to get to the finish line first. And I'm okay with that. To me, it gives a different element to drag racing. It takes you back to the guys sitting in the stands, or maybe you are out there doing some illegal drag racing on some back country road. Money's on the line. Nobody cares about the ET. They just want to know who got to that finish line first. And I think that adds a really special element of, because you're seeing this close racing, and you're like, you think the guy in the right lane had it, and when they shoot through the finish line, left lane, lights come on. To me, that's classic, and I like that. So yeah, we've gotten spoiled with having scoreboards and worrying about ETs. To me, let's talk about winning. ETs are nice, but turn on win lights are better.
Absolutely. Look, the fact is, in other segments of drag racing, they have become enamored with ETs over win lights. And it's like, folks, that's not really the point here. Okay. So yes, I like the balancing act. Good move from management. And it's certainly going to be exciting to have David Lancaster, the voice of SEGA, announce the reestablishing of a record and it being backed up. That's going to be cool to hear over the PA, and it's going to be cool to see those scoreboards on the finals. It is a nice touch. I like it.
It is a very nice touch.
I like it. Okay, since we've solved that, everybody be happy. Don't go in the comment sections. We don't want to hear it. Okay. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, folks, thank you for tuning in here on SEGA Live. It's been another great episode. Thank you to Daniel Haynes. Thank you to Tim Hall. Thank you to David Lancaster. And over there, Mr. Dujane Bland, for their time. I'm Lee Kraft, a.k.a. the Monday Morning Racer. Until next time, God bless and keep the pedal to the metal. We're going to check out with this word from Harbin's Mechanical. Thank you for your support of the first race of the year, and also coming up in Ringgold. They're the title sponsor. Thank you for your support. You as the watcher, you as the partner, you as the racer. SEGA out.
Harbin's Mechanical serves Atlanta, Georgia, and its metro area. From the big jobs downtown to the jobs in your hometown of the suburbs, they are your #1 source for your HVAC and refrigeration needs in Atlanta and its metro area. Stay cool in Hotlanta with Harbin's Mechanical Services.